Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya. If you've never been here before, hit that subscribe button down below. Today we are going to be doing my February TBR game, Drag Queens Choose My TBR. So first things first, let's recap the wonderful reading month that was January. Let me grab my cards. So the first card from last game, these are all the cards that I've completed. I'm missing a card, which means it may have ended up back in the deck, but that's okay. So the first book on the of the game last month was Alaska, which is a book club pick, and so my book club pick for the month was Cultish by Amanda Montell. You can see that I loved this book. I didn't ever want it to end. It was so good. I gave this book 5 stars. A little bit about it. It is a nonfiction book about cults and cultish language and how cultish language is in our everyday life, in business, in workouts, in MLMs, in all of this kind of stuff. Super interesting, really quick read, and everyone in my book club really enjoyed it. The next book I read, I don't have the card for, I don't know where she is, but the prompt was Aiden Zane, and that is a seasonal read, and for that I did Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wob Rice. This book, this season is winter. It's a dystopian horror about a reserve in the north of Ontario where these people are living relatively cut off from the rest of society. They have like a trucking road where they get deliveries. They have a hydro plant that was recently built where they get their power and water, and then all of a sudden they get cut off from everything. No phones, no internet, no power, no water. So they don't really know what to do, and then they kind of start to realize that they're not alone and that it's happening to everyone, and people from the south start coming up and they start to realize that maybe things are not quite what they seem, both within their group and outside. And I talked about this in a vlog, so I won't go too much in depth, but I loved this book. I gave it 4 stars. It was a little slow, but once it really got going, it was wonderful. Apparently there's going to be a sequel coming. I don't know that it's really necessary, but I don't know. If you like horror and isolated horror books, this is a good one. The next pick was Bob the Drag Queen, which was highest rated on TBR, and for that I read 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act by Bob Joseph. This is a nonfiction book, basically literally the title. So in Canada we have what's called the Indian Act, which was basically enacted to assimilate Indigenous people into Canadian culture, and it has had lasting repercussions all the way leading up to today. It's responsible for the residential school crisis. It's responsible for welfare, child welfare. It's responsible for reserves, for poverty, for like literally everything. It's horrible. And this book breaks down all the things you might not know are actually connected to that. Again, a ton of stickies for things I want to go back to and things that were really interesting. So if you're Canadian, I think this is a must read. Definitely pick it up. And the last book that I read this month was for the Vixen prompt, which is a strong female character, and for that I read House of Blood and, what am I saying? House of Earth and Blood, the First Crescent City book by Sarah J. Maas. So I picked this book up this month because my friends and I were talking about maybe doing a buddy read for the sequel, which comes out this month, which I'll talk a little bit about. But essentially the plot of this book is that the main character, Bryce, lives in Crescent City, and there are a whole bunch of like mystical creatures in this world. It's kind of hard to get into, actually. Like vampires, shapeshifters, fae, humans, archangels, angels, anyway. So every place in this world is governed by the Asteri, who are these like celestial beings, and like her other books, there was a rebellion that went wrong and a lot of people were punished for it and are now slaves. So anyway, Bryce is half human, half fae. She lives in Crescent City, and basically she gets called in to investigate a string of murders that are happening again because she was tied into the first murders. And in order to keep her safe in this case, she's assigned a bodyguard who is Hunt, and he is destined to his job is to like look after her and keep her safe for this investigation. So this is a fantasy romance. It's her first official adult romance. The cover is stunning. And I gave this book 4 stars. It was a little slow for me, and it's also 800 pages, which was a lot. I've never read a book that long in my life. So it was rough, but then when I realized I needed to finish it by the end of the month, I like sectioned it off into how many pages I needed to read, and I started to hit those, and then I started to go over them because it started to get so good that I couldn't put the book down. So I'm very excited for the sequel. Also, Bryce, who's the main character of this book, may be the first female main character that I actually like. It's very well known on this channel that I don't like Harry Potter, the character. Not that he's a woman, but like I don't like main characters in general. I don't like Katniss, I don't like Triss, I don't like Feyre. So the fact that I love Bryce is a very big deal, and I just love this series. So that is my wrap up for last month. And now before we jump into what the cards chose for us, I'm going to talk about the books that I need to read this month. So the first book that I want to read is Black Buck by Matteo Ascaripour. This is the main book that we're reading for the Not Wasting My 20s book club. So I need to get that on my TBR. The one-off book that we're reading this month is How to Not Die Alone by Logan Ury, so I want to get that on the TBR. The book that we're reading for the Spicy Book Club, oh, I actually just got it in the mail. The book that I need to get on the list for the Spicing Up My 20s book club is The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. And then the last book I mentioned before is the sequel to House of Earth and Blood, House of Sky and Breath and Sky. I don't know, it's one of the other houses in the book. House of Sky and Breath. That is released on February 15th, so I'll get that halfway through the month. I pre-ordered it, so yeah, those are the 4 books I'd like to get on my TBR. Now let's go back to Pasmaya, who is shuffling and drawing the cards. We're going to roll the dice, and we got 6. Okay, and now we're going to draw our 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the first card that we drew is Jinx Monsoon. Card that I chose for the month is Jinx Monsoon, which is randomize your TBR. So I'll insert the screen recording here. But the book that the randomizing my Goodreads own TBR got me is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I'm very excited about this because it's going to be my first Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've always wanted to read her books. All of my friends really like them. I picked this one up because it was on sale. Actually, I think my grandma got it for me when we were in Victoria, so it's in that haul. But anyway, this book is about an end of the summer party in August 1983 in Malibu. I'll read you this. It's the day of Nina Riva's annual end of summer party and anticipation is at a fever pitch. Everyone wants to be around the famous Rivas. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel, brothers Jay and Hud, one a champion surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister Kit. Together, the siblings are a source of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the offspring of the legendary singer Mick Riva. The only person not looking forward to the party is Nina herself, who never wanted to be the center of attention and who has always just been very publicly abandoned by her pro tennis player husband. Oh, and maybe Hud, because it is long past time for him to confess something to the brother from whom he's been inseparable since birth. Jay, on the other hand, is counting the minutes until nightfall when the girl he can't stop thinking about promised she'll be there, and Kit has a couple secrets of her own, including a guest she invited without consulting anyone. By midnight, the party will be completely out of control. By morning, the Riva mansion will have gone up in flames. But before the first spark, in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shape this family's generations will all come rising to the surface. So I believe these are the kids of a character of another one of her books. So in that case, it would have been nice to read some of her other books first, but I love the idea of this. It kind of sounds like We Were Liars, or One of Us is Lying. I think We Were Liars is the one I'm thinking about. So I'm very excited. Hopefully I will get to it this month. It's not too long. But yeah, that is my pick for my randomized TBR. We have Crystal, which is a book that references something that you don't understand. That we got is Crystal Method. And Crystal's prompt is a book about something you don't really understand. And for this, I'm gonna be reading How Not to Die Alone by Logan Ury. I have this on my Kindle, and this is one of the books I wanted to get on my TBR. So let's open up the summary. This is a nonfiction book. I've been following Logan Ury for a while. This is the first time I've ever been able to actually read one of her books though. So this is the Goodreads summary, but have you ever looked around and wondered, why has everyone found love except me? You're not the only one. Great relationships don't just appear in our lives. They're the culmination of a series of decisions, including who to date, how to end it with the wrong person, and when to commit to the right one. But the brain often gets in the way. We make poor decisions which thwart us on our quest to finding lasting love. Drawing from years of research, behavioral scientist turned dating coach Logan Ury reveals the hidden forces that cause those mistakes, but awareness on its own doesn't lead to results. You actually have to change your behavior, and Ury shows you how to. So probably the thing that I am the least confident about in my life is my love life. I'm very inexperienced when it comes to dating and anxious about it. So I thought, why not read this book with book club this month? And it definitely fits into the I have no idea what's going on in this book, or a book about something I don't really understand, because I just don't, and I'm very eager to learn more. So that is the prompt for that card. The third card is Milk. The next card that was pulled was Milk, and Milk's prompt is a one-word title. So for this, I'm reading Broken by Jenny Lawson. I just grabbed this from the library. It's technically one word, broken in the best way possible, but it counts. It's one word. I read, oh, there's a dog with the booties on. Oh my god. I read her other book, Furiously Happy. It has a taxidermied raccoon on the front cover. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, a while ago, and I really enjoyed it. So I thought, I had this on my TBR for a bit, so when it was in at the library, I thought I might as well pick this up. Basically it's like a talk about her mental health. She explores how suffering from depression finally made her try the experimental transcranial magnetic stimulation and how it like went, and there's a bunch of like little essays. It's not too long. I really like her humor, and also I think she narrates the audiobook, which I have 2 token thingies or whatever they call them on Audible, and so I might pick up the audiobook depending on how many books I need to get to this month, because as you will see, we're 3 books into my 4 polls, and only 1 of my books that I need to read this month has made it on the list. So might get this as an audio as well, but yeah, I'm gonna try this out. If I can't fulfill this one for some reason, there are some other one-word books on my shelf, but this one is short and hopefully funny. And the 4th card is Evie. And the last card that we pulled is Evie Oddly, which is a horror prompt. And so for this prompt, I am reading Kill Them All by Pasha Mala. I recently hauled this book. I don't actually think I talked about getting it. Oh, I ordered it on Boxing Day, so it may have been in the last day of Vlogmas. I saw this book on the shelf in a coffee shop, and I was like, I love things about malls. So I just added it to my TBR, and then I picked it up on Boxing Day. So this is a horror fantasy, and the back says it's a cutting critique of consumer culture as embodied in the fading faux grandeur of the local mall. So the inside says, after writing a letter in praise of malls, our eccentric narrator is offered a residency at a shabby suburban shopping center. His mission? To occupy the mall for several weeks, splitting his time between making work and engaging the public, all while chronicling his adventure in weekly progress reports. Before long, a series of strange after-hour events rattles our hero, and he sets forth on a nightly quest to untangle the mysterious forces at play in the mall's unmapped recesses. Things quickly get hairy, and our narrator's optimism about his lucky gig descends into doubt and then into a full-blown phantasmagoria of horror and possibly murder. Yeah, so it's kind of like a parody of like consumer culture. It says Douglas Adams meets David Lynch in this ingenious witty fable about one of North America's most surreal inventions, the local mall. Also, the cover is just stunning. So I'm excited for this. Again, it's not too long, and I'm hoping that the writing will be good because I've never read anything by him before. But yeah, also there's a little like unicorn on the mall. Anyway, so those are the 4 books that my TBR game rewarded me with. I don't know if rewarded is the right word, because it was just pretty much impossible to get any of the books that I really wanted to read this month on this version of the TBR. So in addition to that, I will be reading Black Buck. I've already started it because I'm filming this video on February 2nd. So I've already started it and I'm really enjoying it so far. So I will give a recap at the end of the month. And I will also be reading The Roommate Risk, and hopefully House of Sky and Breath when it arrives midway through the month, but that one might be a little bit on the back burner. We shall see. So let me know what is on your TBR for February in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If you want to support me on other platforms, my Instagram, TikTok, website, Spotify, Goodreads, and more are all linked down below in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Drag Queens Choose My TBR game, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!